Hey, this book is called Ayobami and the Names of the Animals. And see here, it was a winner at the 2018 New York Times New York Public Library Best Illustrated Children's Books Award. So pay attention to the pictures in this one. And what is that? Cursive writing. Okay. Ayobami and the Names of the Animals. When the war finally came to an end, the teacher went from house to house telling everyone that the children could go back to school the next day. The children ran out into the street shouting with joy. They laughed and they hugged each other. They were very, very happy. As the sun rose, Ayobami got up and dressed before her father came in to wake her up. He gave her a piece of paper and a worn-out pencil. "Wait for the other kids so you don't have to go on your own," he said. But she was so impatient to get back to school that she didn't want to wait for anyone. "I really want to learn to read and write." So her father made her a little boat out of another piece of paper. He pushed it out into the river that ran past their home and said, "Follow it downstream and you'll arrive at the schoolhouse." Ayobami followed the little paper boat as it sailed down the river until it got stuck under a branch. It stayed there for a little while until it finally sank. Ayobami felt sad as she watched it. How was she going to get to school now? A hippopotamus was watching her from the riverbank. "What's wrong, little girl?" he said. Ayobami told him that her paper boat had sunk and now she didn't know how to get to school. "Well, I can show you the quickest way, but you'll have to promise me that when you come back, you'll write my name for me." The little girl nodded her head. "The quickest but most dangerous way is through the jungle. There are lots of animals there that will want to eat you up, but if you don't stop, you'll reach the schoolhouse." So Ayobami took the path that led through the jungle. As she was walking along the path, a crocodile that had been hiding in the bushes jumped out in front of her. "Where are you going, little girl?" he asked. "I'm going to school to learn to read and write," she said. "Now, why would you want to read and write?" asked the crocodile. So that I can write your name. Let me go on my way, and when I come back from school, I'll write it down on a piece of paper." "Very well," said the crocodile. "I'll be waiting for you here. Off you go." The crocodile moved out of the way, and Ayobami kept walking without looking back. A leopard that had been resting on a branch jumped down in front of her. "Where are you going, little girl?" he asked. "I'm going to school because I want to learn to read and write. If you don't eat me, when I come back, I'll write your name on a piece of paper." The leopard looked at her, thinking about what Ayobami had said. "Very well, I hope you do it," and he moved out of her way. Then a long green snake slithered across her path. "Hello, little girl. I'm very hungry, and it's breakfast time," she hissed. "Don't eat me. When I come back from school, I'll write your name on a piece of paper," said Ayobami. I've never seen my name written on a piece of paper before." And she moved out of the way so Ayobami could keep walking. Next, a big, hairy spider with long legs jumped out in front of her. "I've never had a little girl for breakfast," said the spider. But Ayobami told the spider that she would write her name if the spider let her pass. The spider agreed, and Ayobami kept on walking. Then a tiny mosquito buzzed in front of her. "Even though you can hardly see me, I'm more dangerous than you think," said the mosquito. Ayobami begged her to let her keep walking to school, and in exchange she would write her name on a piece of paper. The mosquito agreed and told Ayobami that she would be waiting in the same place when she came back. Ayobami finally crossed through the jungle and was the first to arrive at the schoolhouse. The teacher was waiting by the door. The other children, who had taken the path that ran alongside the river, soon arrived. In class, Ayobami learned the letters of the alphabet. She learned how to put them together to make sounds. to join the sounds, to make words, to mix the words together to make sentences, and she heard the music that comes from making words. When school was over, Ayobami said goodbye to her teacher. In her hand, she had a piece of paper with writing on only one side, and she set off along the path through the jungle. The mosquito was waiting. She gave it the piece of paper with its name, and the insect flew off happily. The spider was also waiting. It took the piece of paper with its name, waving its hairy legs in the air. The snake was twisted around a branch. It slid down to the ground and disappeared into the trees with the piece of paper with its name. The leopard jumped out of the tree when it saw Ayobami walking by. It climbed back up with the piece of paper and fell back to sleep. The crocodile appeared out of the shadows. It read the piece of paper with its name and walked off with a big smile on its face. Ayobami walked out of the jungle and gave the hippopotamus the last piece of paper she had left, and it sank back down to the bottom of the river with it in its mouth. The sun began to set, and Ayobami's parents sat by the door waiting for her to come home. "Show me what you have learned," said her father. But Ayobami didn't have any paper left, and the pencil was all worn out. Her father walked back into the house with an angry expression, believing that his daughter had wasted her time at school. Her mother gave her a big hug. Ayobami sat by the door waiting for night to fall. In the middle of the night, a very strong wind began to blow. It was so strong that it blew the dust from the paths. It churned up the water in the river. It blew all of the fallen leaves from the floor of the jungle. It woke up all of the animals who were dreaming about their names written on a piece of paper. Just before Ayobami woke up, the wind blew against the door of her house. Her father opened the door and found a piece of paper with writing on it. It was made of little scraps of paper all joined together. Each one had a word on it. Ayobami climbed out of bed and read the words: mosquito, spider, snake, leopard, crocodile, hippopotamus. Ayobami's father understood that she had learned to read and write at school. He understood that she had made the animals dream about the sound of their names. Clutching another piece of paper and another little stub of a pencil, the little girl set off to school again, along the path that leads to the place where hope is born. And there's the alphabet again. And that was called Ayobami and the Names of the Animals. Hope you enjoyed that and that you subscribe and come back often.